If you have high sex appeal, if you're handsome, if you attracted her off the dating app, almost always women will have the idea that you're arrogant, ignorant, conceited, womanizer, player, etc. So how do we subvert those?
But they like that though. You know how many girls told me, you look mean in your pictures. So why are you here then? If I look so mean, why are you here then? Cause y'all like that shit, man.
Damn. Set your alarm, aren't you hungry?
So you're getting dates, but they rarely turn into a second one. The conversation is good, you think it went well, and then her replies slow down or she just never meets up again. If that's you, then keep watching, because please do understand, dating is not just one event. It's a process with phases. Attraction is gonna get you the match. Chemistry gets you the first date, but retention, how she feels after spending time with you, determines whether she keeps coming back. And short-term retention is everything, because the more she shows up, the more emotionally invested she will become. And the more invested she becomes, the easier it is to actually build a real attachment instead of just being another guy she grabbed drinks with. Now, the big question is, why did she lose interest? I mean, you did everything right on the surface. Well, the main reason is because the fantasy version of you in her head did not match her reality. And when I talk about her reality, that means how she
That's some BS, bro. I can't control that.
felt with you.
I can't control what you think in your head.
Emotion she felt when she was on the date. That is sometimes even called the spark or the vibe.
Because if we being honest, that same concept works the other way around. You could have an idea in your head about what a girl is like, but when you actually meet her in person, she completely different. You know what I'm saying? And that can be disappointing. I had like 2 girls where I thought she was gonna be one way in real life, but when I actually met her, she was something else, bro. Like this one girl, I really liked her a lot, bro. I really wanted to talk to her. Finally talked to her. Built her up in my head. And I thought she was cute. Turned out, she was just a bop. And it was very disappointing. It was very disappointing. I really wanted to like get to know this girl, and she was just a bop. You know what I'm saying? So I treated her how bops like to be treated.
It's basically the emotional impact that you had on her on the date. Listen, I know for us guys, dating is difficult. Not only do we have to attract a woman, but she has to like us, and then we have to like her. But for the most part, you'll notice that because women have so many options, and because she likely went out on multiple dates that week, it's very hard in order to stand out. But you stick with me, I'm gonna show you some common things that probably you are doing right now that aren't making you stand out on the first date. And then also how we're gonna tap into her psychology, so that way she actually feels some sort.
But this made me think of something too, right? You could tell a woman to build her ideal man from scratch, from tangible qualities to intangible qualities. Build the exact man that you want, and she will do that. The problem with that is it still won't be good enough. It still won't be good enough for her, bruh. She's still gonna find a problem with it. This is something you built from scratch. This is all from you, and it's still not good enough. Man, look.
Of excitement to see you again. Remember, the reality of you she had in her head did not align with expectations when she actually met you. Now, this could be for a few reasons. Number one is going to be what I call your personality calibration. This can be maybe you were too performative or too extroverted, or on the other extreme, maybe you were too reserved, too shy, or just overall too nervous. This is only a problem more so if you haven't been out on a lot of dates, right? That's why it's like the frame and your vibe going into the date needs to be that of a man who has been on 1,000 dates. And not only that, but you have to have the frame that you're not trying to impress her, but more so you're trying to qualify her. And so it creates a shift from you're not the employee, you're more so the employer. She's coming to the job interview. You're the manager, you're the one hiring. So that would kind of help with that nervous energy, but also let's go into like conversation and balance. So this is where you're oversharing too much about yourself. You have this really strong interview mode in the conversation, meaning that there's no emotional spikes in the conversation. It's just straight up logic. Question, question, question. There's no ups, there's no downs, there's no laughter. You know, it's plain, it's flat. Anybody in that scenario is not going to be interested in the other person across the table or beside each other, even if that person they are attracted to. Think about it. If you go out with a woman who is perfectly your type, she's blonde, brunette, whatever, attractive body, attractive face, and you start
brown skin,
speaking with her and you realize that she's dumb, she can't hold a sentence, and she definitely can't hold a conversation, and her body language is off, like, you're gonna be turned off immediately, right? So that's another thing in terms of conversation, but also let's get into behavior. Your behavior is very important. So I'm talking about elements of your confidence, your body language, your eye contact, even your mannerisms. Now let's talk about body language a little bit. With body language on the first date, it has to be cool, calm, and relaxed. So you're not like too engaged or eager. You're not leaning in too much. You're kind of just like aloof listening. I kind of like to do like a head tilt like this, kind of hold my jaw a little bit. You just kind of like talk as if I'm there with somebody I've known for 10 years. That's sort of like the vibe and energy I give off with body language. But also at the same time, there has to be like underlying romantic intention shown through your body language. So when I talk about the eye contact or just your overall mannerisms, how you have that sort of James Bond suave. You're not really goofy, you're not too excited, but you're just cool, calm, collected. You smirk a little bit, you're listening. You have an intense gaze. You're not like staring through her soul, but you're giving good eye contact. Elements like this plays into her subconscious, and you are now positioning yourself as a man worthy of being taken seriously. And when you do that, obviously she's gonna respect you more, thus take you seriously. Now, please keep in mind and do understand that some women, no matter how good you are, you can have the perfect amount of body language, the perfect everything, you're just simply not gonna vibe with. This is why the first date in itself is a filtering process. You're literally meeting up to see if you guys would like each other. There's been times in which, I promise you, I've met 9s and 10s out of 10s, and on the date I just could not stand them to where I never saw them again. And I'm sure that has happened to me vice versa. In fact, you know, these Facebook groups, are we dating the same guy? So I've been posted on these Facebook groups before with women I met years ago. I'm talking back in like 2020.
Bruh, dudes don't do no shit like that, bro. Are we dating the same girl? Like, bro, that's some weird shit.
They posted me in there, and there's
A lot of things that girls do, if a dude did it, they would look at them as corny. You know what I'm saying? Girls do a lot of corny things, bro. But they get away with it because they're women and we want them. Especially if they're attractive. Girl, I don't think girls realize how much corny stuff they get away with.
women who I remember I had one date with responded underneath my post and was like, oh, he was boring, reserved, and like couldn't talk. And I remember this woman specifically how dry and boring she was. And so I know myself, I was creating emotional clarity, I was leading the conversation, I was trying to be fun, but she was dry as all gets out. But guess what? Her perception wasn't like that because she didn't understand herself. She thought I was boring. That was just a quick example of understanding how not every woman's gonna be a match, and that's okay. But let's get back into the first date game, right? And what I've realized is that we need to create what I call emotional contrast with women. Women's emotions cannot only just stay up or only be down. There has to be like cycles of it. So that way we become a little bit more unpredictable, we have a little bit more mystery, and we become more intriguing. These small emotional dips, and we're gonna talk about how to do that, will create that intrigue plus tension, you know, mystery, curiosity, anticipation. And the contrast that you actually create on the first date will make the experience actually memorable. In psychology, this is actually called emotional peaks. And when people have emotional peaks, they're actually more likely to remember something and actually relay that experience with having a good time because it taps deeper into their subconscious. Think about it. Anytime you've achieved something very, very easily, the reward and the goal like wasn't that great. But if you remember something that you achieved in which you went through a lot of challenges, even heartbreak, but you came out on top at the end, that's more of a better story to tell. Now, obviously that doesn't correlate to like first dates, but that's the point in terms of how it works with our psychology. So pretty much the goal is that she has to feel something dynamic, not flat. And
Same vice versa, shawty. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
so pretty much the goal is that she has to feel something dynamic, not flat.
I need to feel something dynamic, not flat. You know what I'm saying?
So to create that emotional contrast, we have to do two things. Number one, we have to impress her, but also we have to disappoint her. Let's talk about impressing her first. Let's start off with the positive. And so this is purely going to create those positive emotional spikes because without those, obviously we are just a douchebag, an asshole, and she's not going to want to see us again. So first way you can impress a woman is by subverting her expectations. Basically, the idea that she thought of you, you actually exceed that. So you don't disappoint her in terms of your actions or how you're gonna be. You actually show up in a better way than what she expected. So for example, if you have high sex appeal, if you're handsome, if you attracted her off the dating app, almost always women will have the idea that you're arrogant, ignorant, conceited, womanizer, player, etc. So how do we subvert those?
But they like that though. You know how many girls told me, you look mean in your pictures. So why are you here then? If I look so mean, why are you here then? Cause y'all like that shit, man.
Expectations. When we actually get on the date, we show her that we have degrees of emotional intelligence and other layers of depth to our personality. So the easiest way to do this is actually just being very easy to talk to and allowing her to talk more than you speak about yourself. And so when you do this in conversation, you'll start to notice that one, they might even point out, wow, you're different than what I expected or what I thought you would be like. If you're hearing that on the date, that's amazing. Usually I would hear this at least maybe an hour into the interaction. And when they start to get a sense of my personality, they're like, the visual and like how you actually are, I'm actually thoroughly impressed, right? And so we do that just by being a decent human being. It's actually very easy. But not only that, in terms of impressing her, we showcase other lifestyle layers about ourselves. So you might have heard me say this phrase before, and that is discovery trumps disclosure. And what I mean by this is that you don't overtly lead or talk about your business accolades or your cars or where you live, what you do, etc. You allow those things to naturally be discovered, and when that happens, it's actually more of a shock for them. But also it makes them impressed because you didn't have to lead with that. You didn't have to brag with that. Like for example, I had 2 cars. On the first date, I would usually drive like my Camaro V6 car, nothing crazy. But over the course of time, maybe even on the first day, if I bring them back to my place, they see that I actually had a sports car or I have an Aston Martin or something. So that's an example of how discovery will trump disclosure. But also let me get into actually looking congruent or better than your online image. We've all had that scenario in which you met a woman, she wasn't as attractive as her pictures, and you're a little bit disappointed, right? We want the opposite to happen with us. You want to show up on the date and look like a spitting image of whatever version she saw on your dating profiles or IG. But you actually want to be even better. And so the way you can be even better is by really ensuring that your grooming's on point, fresh haircut, smelling good, dressing really nice. And once you do all that, you make a really great first impression in which they're like, holy shit, this is a real guy. This is a real man. Because sometimes, especially if you're really optimized, women will start to question, like, is this guy real? Is this guy faking it? Is he really just over enhanced? But when they see you in 3D, it's like everything goes out the window. They are into you, they are locked in. That's how we want them to feel. We're exceeding their expectations now. Now, if you don't have amazing pictures, if you don't have really good marketing, then check out what I made for you down below. It's called the Romeo Effect. This will show you how to position yourself as a top 10% man on dating apps. We do it by refining your style, your looks, and your overall presentation. That way you actually attract.
And this man got a business to run.
In terms of impressing her, we have to lead logistics confidently and also create movement within the date. I had a client I was speaking with, and he wasn't going out on many second dates either. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing on the first date? Oh, well, we just get appetizers and kind of stay in the same area. Then I just call it after about a few hours. And I'm like,
no, girls like going to multiple spots, bro. You gotta find like a little area that got at least 2 or 3 good locations within walking distance or short driving distance. So when y'all leave the first spot, get some food, maybe 1 drink. Y'all go to the next spot, get some more drinks, maybe dessert. You know what I'm saying? Especially dessert. And it got to be a little cool spot where it's got some form of entertainment where it's like live music or just music playing. Maybe, I don't know, bowling. Something, bro. I don't know, man. I just know it when it's time to do it.
Of course, man, like this is boring. There has to be movement. And so there's something in which I call the rule of 2. The date, or at least first dates, have to be minimum 2 hours long, minimum, and then 2 locations. 2 locations because when we create movement, meaning you go to a bar, then bar 2, or a bar, then a walk, or a walk and then an arcade, it creates more of an adventure in her head. And it allows her to turn off her brain because you are leading the whole entire interaction. She's just showing up. This is why it's called a courtship, because you are courting her at this point in time. Now, eventually the dynamic will shift as you get to know her, but the first date we do have to show that we're capable of leading and creating a good time. And you can still do that very, very cheaply. You don't have to go out to dinner. You don't have to do any of these crazy expensive stuff. A first date actually should cost less than $100 if you're running it the right way. Now, another thing I will say is that you absolutely have to show romantic intention. This means light physical escalation, but not only just escalating, but having like a bit of a push-pull in there. So push-pull is an advanced technique in which you show romantic intent through physical escalation, but if it's not being reciprocated back, you simply just pull back for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then you go in. So it's like this push-pull, you know, he's escalating, he's backing off, he's going in, and it really fucks with her head because she doesn't know, like, is this guy into me? Is he not? Like, I really can't read him. But that's exactly what we want.
But you see, you gotta do all of this for a woman though, bruh. You gotta do all of this push-pull movement, going to multiple locations. Even this video, even all these videos we gotta watch and make just to have a better understanding of how to be successful with women. This the question I be asking, like, who has to learn who more? Do men have to learn women more, or do women have to learn men more? In my biased opinion, I believe that men have to learn women more, because just this video alone is evidence. All of this shit we gotta do to make sure things go right on this date, to make sure she feels special, to make sure she can be in her feminine and she don't have to think about nothing, she don't have to plan nothing, she could just be there and exist and have fun, you know, and feel comfortable around you and feel like this could be something. Like, I'm not mad about it, I'm just saying, bro, it's like, when you really think about it, we definitely do have to learn women more. As a man, we got to learn a lot about women. I'm still learning about women, bro. It's still things about women that I be learning, bro, that I was like, damn, I would have never even thought about that on my own. But just being around women, you start to pick up on stuff. You start to pick up on little things, what they pay attention to, what matters to them, how they respond to certain actions. Like, you just start picking up on that stuff.
I just want to be.
But I wonder, is that type of intuitive, what's the word? Damn, what's the word? Intuitive, bro. I promise I know words. Initiative. I wonder if that same initiative is reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? Do women pay attention to the little things about the man that she's involved with? Like what he likes and how he responds to certain things, and I don't know, man. I don't know, bro.
Go. If it's being reciprocated, that's fine, but there has to be like some degree of like push and pull where you're on her but you're not, you're touching her but then you're not, and then of course, as I mentioned before, eye contact, the tone in which you speak is important too. Don't want anything too excited, too bright. That's when
No, because you gotta have, like, you want your voice to sound like authority. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to talk too fast. You don't want to talk too low. And you don't want to be too monotone. Matter of fact, I know I be talking a lot of country, bro. I talk a lot of slang and a lot of country, but I can tighten it up. I can make myself sound way more educated. Because I know I be sounding ignorant as hell on these videos.
With that romantic intention. All right, enough about impressing these women, because guess what? We have to disappoint her. As I stated before, disappointing her is going to create that healthy tension, that emotional space, and essentially craft more mystery about yourself. So best way to disappoint her on the first date so that she actually gets intrigued is to, number one,
bruh, you made it this far into the video and you haven't hit the like button yet.
Damn.
Oh yeah, subscribe.
What's up with all that Instagram shit?
I'm glad you asked. Follow me on Instagram.
There ain't too hungry in this bitch.
in the date first. You absolutely must. You cannot get to a point in the date in which it feels like it's supposed to end, or she's letting you know how tired she is and how she has to work tomorrow or whatever. If we're getting to that point, we've lost all emotional highs of that interaction. After 2 hours has passed by, usually around like the 2.5 hour mark, it comes to a point in which it feels like it's been long enough. If the vibe is good, of course you can keep going. You're gonna have to, take your own discernment for this. But overall, it is best if we end the date first, especially on a high note. So she's having a good time, she's laughing. You guys had been to 2 locations now, but guess what? It's getting kind of late. I've had a great time with you. Text me when you get back home, or let's go ahead and walk to your car. That's what you have to have. In her head, she's like, fuck, like I would have loved for this to keep going, but at least there will be a next time, or hopefully there will be a next time. Now, speaking about next times, is that when she does leave the first date, you never want to over validate through text. So you don't want to be the first one to text her talking about how much of a great time you had or how you loved her personality so much. Absolutely not. Remember, the optimal dynamic of any relationship is a woman chasing your validation. And so we start how we finish. We have to start with that frame from the very beginning. After the first date, do not immediately text her. Now, I'm not saying that you can't text her at all, because you definitely can, and usually that's 2 to 3 days after the first date has happened. But we never want to, oh my.
Yeah, because after we done had a good time together, after I done invested time and money into you, you should be hitting me up. At least letting me know that you had a good time. You know what I'm saying? After we done did all this, you mean you can't send me a text, shorty? Let me know that you got home safe. Let me know that you enjoyed the time we spent together. Nothing? You can't even do that? Well, damn, maybe we don't need to go on a second date then.
This was so great. I love your personality. I love your vibe. We should definitely do this again. No, don't say that in person. Don't say that through text. The most you're going to say is, let me know when you get home, and we're good to go. Now, also, we need to avoid future pacing dates. So when you future pace dates, this means that you let her know that you would like to see her again, either on the date or immediately after through text. As mentioned before, just completely avoid that. When you want to see her again, you would simply just schedule that 4, 5, 6 days after you have met her. You don't need to talk about how you want to see her again on the date. She needs to leave the date having a little bit of mystery about your intentions towards her, not being so sure where you stand. Now, like I said, this is the first date. If her personality is amazing and went well, you physically escalated, you pulled her back, totally different case. But most first dates are just gonna be like a quick interaction, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Maintain some mystery about your intentions and how much you like her. That also means if you're not in a place to fully physically escalate, then we should also avoid kissing her in public. Just try it out. Just try it out. Trust me, just try it out. And once you do all this, you're gonna have more mystery about yourself, but also it's gonna create that emotional polarity in which you impressed her, she had a great time, but also you kind of disappointed her. And this creates that intrigue to get her to agree to go out on date number 2 with you. And once you implement that, and once you
push-pull
practice this, and once you learn it, your dating life will never be the same. In fact, first dates will be so easy for you, you'll have to start learning how to lower a woman's interest. And that's when we get into really advanced game. If you want to actually learn my full system on how you can elevate your image, your presence, your emotional presence, your emotional intelligence, your overall online leverage, check out the Romeo Effect. Link will be down below.
Let me see what y'all talking about in the comments, man. A hookup on date 1 helps to get date 2. Mr. Lucario gonna have a field trip with this one. I don't know what that means, bro. Been waiting for this video. I have been on quite a few dates lately, but most haven't gone anywhere. Either I wasn't very attracted or neither messaged after. One did leave after 1 drinks as she thought that there wasn't much there, but I wasn't really attracted to her. Another one left after 5 minutes and blocked me after I was late. I do have quite a few successful ones, but I'm a bit burnt out by them. But it sound like I don't know, it sound like it wasn't no clear goal or understanding. I don't know, man. But look, man, y'all like the video, LIKE, like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all be safe. I'm out. Bruh, you recording?
There's some real shit going on outside. And we in here talking about bullshit.